We are joined now by Debra Medina, who is a candidate for the Gubernatorial nomination, the Republican Party of Texas. And Debra, welcome back to the program.
Good morning, Lynn. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I'll tell you what, things are just rocking and rolling in the governor's race, aren't they?
They really are.
You and I have both had op-eds. Yours was in the Houston Chronicle, mine in the Dallas Morning News. And you were saying in your op-ed piece in the Chronicle a little bit more directly than I said it, but the idea is that if somebody committed a crime and is executed for that crime, that's fine. But if somebody is a bad person but did not commit a particular crime, that person shouldn't be executed for being a bad person. That person should be executed when justice is done. Did I state that about right?
That's pretty close.
Well, where do you see things in this Cameron Todd Willingham case?
Well, I was hoping to get to read Dr. Byler's report this morning. I really, in the op-ed, was commenting on what we're doing to the Forensic Science Commission. I think part of what we look to leadership for is not just propriety, but, avoiding even the appearance of impropriety. And it certainly looks improper to gut the commission 2 days before they're set to hear this report. And it looks like every advisor, I think there's some scripture out there about, the council of fools. Every advisor was telling the governor, don't do this. Leave the commission intact until they hear that report. They've been working on this issue for 4 years, and he's ignoring his counselors.
You stated, and here's a direct quote about Rick Perry in your piece in the Houston Chronicle, quote, "Your behavior is beyond reprehensible."
I believe that. I believe that not only in this case, but I think I cited for you there just a number of things where we've gotten pretty sloppy as a state. We're better than that in Texas. All of us expect better than that with our taxpayer dollars. We've seen scandal after scandal. It seems like every rock that we turn over to examine what's happening within our state, we find problems. We've got the Texas Youth Commission sex scandal. That went on for 7 years. 7 years. That stuff was buried and nobody looked at it in a serious manner with an intent to correct the problem. We have, facility residents in Corpus Christi where the staff is essentially using mentally handicapped individuals as roosters to fight in the middle of the night. That is deplorable. And that went on for over a year under the auspices of the state of Texas. We've got CPS rolling in military style into El Dorado and taking 400 children. The governor says, I don't care if we stepped over a few legal lines. Excuse me, sir, the law said, the courts said, zero evidence in that case that there was any harm or potential harm or likelihood for harm to those children, and you didn't care about the law? This is a republic. We better care about the law, and now we've got the Willingham case. So it seems like everywhere we turn, we're putting on rose-colored glasses if we think the governor is bringing us the kind of character and integrity that Texas deserves.
Well, but the governor is one official. We have a state senate, we have a state House of Representatives, we have the lieutenant governor and all the down-ballot races and office holders. Do you believe we have corruption endemic to our state government?
Well, I don't know if I'm ready to go that far. I believe that the buck stops with the CEO, and that means I'm biting off a bunch, doesn't it? Because I'm asking for that job in Texas. It is a huge task, and I hope that we can build concern and care. I'll tell you, though, Lynn, I sat before the House Committee on Elections in the interim and testified before that committee. And the men sitting on that committee, some of them long-time, well-respected conservative legislators, acted as though they could care less about the testimony that was being given before that committee. That was not true on the Senate side. I sat and gave testimony to the Senate State Affairs Committee on that same issue, and the chairman of that committee was very disturbed by the testimony that he was hearing, and he said, I want to tell you witnesses here today, if what you are telling me is accurate, I am very concerned about this problem. It had to do with voter identification and voter electronic voting in Texas. But the guys in the House, I mean, you might as well have been telling them that it was 70 degrees outside, partly cloudy, nice temperature, because
Well, okay, well, let me answer. He's frustrated with Rick Perry, too. But I'm worried about the fact that this happens after the fact. I mean, you investigate this case after you've put the guy to death? What's going on here?
I think that we've had a couple of cases like that. You know, we've got a judge, I believe, in Austin right now that's in pretty hot water because a document wasn't filed with her office timely, and someone was executed, and there was an opportunity there maybe for the governor to step in. I have said, and I continue to believe that there are crimes so heinous that death is the only just punishment.
So you are pro-death penalty?
I do believe that there are some crimes where that is justice, but I want to be real careful that we're protecting innocent life, and I've said if we've got a problem in the system, we need to suspend those sentences until such time as we can make sure that we've done everything humanly possible to make sure that that verdict is accurate.
Debra Medina is a candidate for the Republican nomination for governor up against Kay Bailey and Rick. And we'll be back with more with Debra Medina right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I am your logic czar with Purpose-Driven Radio. Our purpose, to stand up for the Constitution, the Declaration, the Bill of Rights, the American soldier, the taxpayer, the flag, the unborn child. With us, Debra Medina. She is a Republican candidate for the gubernatorial nomination up against Kay Bailey Hutchison, Rick Perry. Debra, let me read something from the Wikipedia entry for Todd Willingham, Cameron Todd Willingham. The prosecutor has claimed the fire which killed the children was the third attempt by Willingham to kill them. He also claimed Willingham had attempted to abort both of his wife's pregnancies by kicking his wife, intending to cause miscarriages. So if there's any modicum of truth to this, Rick Perry is right when he calls the guy a monster and says he was a very bad guy, but still, you write in your column, now we learn that you, Rick Perry, are working overtime to suppress testimony that speaks to the accuracy of a verdict that sent a man to his death in 2004. So, stipulated, Willingham was a monster, but the verdict still has to be correct.
But he was sentenced to die, presumably because he intentionally set fire to the house. That's the question. Was the fire arson or not? And it is the commission's duty. We can't change, and I think you and I both have talked about that, we can't change what happened to Todd Willingham, but the chairman of the Texas Forensic Science Commission accurately pointed out there are a number of people incarcerated in Texas prisons today on that same science. Mm-hmm. And it is our duty to investigate the science, review the studies, and determine whether those convictions are accurate, and certainly to do all that we can to prevent sentencing any other innocent people to prison and potentially to a death sentence if, in fact, the science that was used, and I understand the science has changed, but according to the chairman of the commission, we have people incarcerated today on that same science. So we've got a duty to study that science and repair any damage that we can.
Mm-hmm.